Hey guys, I'm Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing. Welcome to the stream, everybody. I hope we have some fun today. So, welcome in, Corwin. Welcome in. And Transdimensional Shambler, afternoon. I'm actually pretty good. My breathing is a little bit shallow today, so it shouldn't be that big of an issue, but I might be a little bit on the slow side today. So, today we are once again continuing on our Hardy Hot Cut. We will be finishing it today, especially because we're pretty close to being finished already. Let me check this. Hey Mahalo, you finished early with your bucket lift, just having a snack before headed out again. Well, welcome in for as long as you're able to come in to the stream. And yeah, I hope that you get your tree out really nice and easily and safely. So like I said, we are continuing on our Hot Cut Hardy. We are going to be finishing that today. And the goal is to at least make one nail today. I really want to start making nails. So I've actually gone ahead and made myself a nail header. And so this is my nail header. It is made out of a 1/2-inch plate. And I have 2 holes in that. You probably can't see from there, but there are 2 holes that I've drilled in here. One of them is an 1/8 inch and the other is a 16th. I will be drilling a 3rd hole, but I haven't decided if I want to do like 5/16 or if I want to go up a size and do like, I don't know, a 1/4. So we'll talk about this in a little bit. I want to show you a good view of it. So let me grab the camera so that I can show it to you. Let me move this over here, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. I apologize for all of the movement, but I want you guys to be able to see this real nice and close. So I'm going to try and do this a little bit on the side. It is definitely making it worse. There we go. We're starting to get a little bit of focus in there. All right. Let me a little bit higher focus. You can definitely tell. Whoa. Super wiggly. I apologize for that. So this is my my nail header. You can kind of tell there that I have a couple holes in there. So that's kind of how it works a little bit, I guess. Show you guys a little bit more how it works when I start making the nails. Now I have to say that I totally forgot to kind of record myself making this nail header. So basically I took a plate of 1/2-inch steel and I cut it. And then I ground off all of the flashing and the edges so that I can hold on to it in one hand or with my bare hand. So the idea is to take the piece of steel, which is about yay long, heat it up, hammer it into a wedge, and stick it inside of here, and then use this to make the head. So we will be using the hot cut to cut the nail off of the rod. So one of the essential things that you need for a nail header is to make sure that the hole in the nail header is slightly smaller than the stock that you are going to be starting with. The faster, or like the closer your stock is to the final size of the nail, the faster you're going to be able to make nails, because you'll have less forging, less tapering to do. So that's kind of what I have put or kept in mind when I made this nail header. Looks like we are currently in ad time, so I may have actually like started speaking through the ad, so I apologize if that is the case. So yeah, I'm hoping, or I know for a fact that we will be doing nails on Friday, because if we can't get our hot cut done today, like the grinding sections of it, I will do that tomorrow. So we will be doing nails on Friday as a stream. And I want to see how many I can go, or like how fast I can go. So we'll probably do a few nails to get warmed up, and then from there we'll start timing me to see how long I can make the nails. And you guys can kind of guess how long you think that it'll take me. So I've already started the forge, and the reason I did that is because I wanted to get started forging on this hot cut hardy, so that we can finish it. I can grind it on stream. Are we? Hot enough? It looks like we're getting there. Whoops! I kicked my piece of steel. So yeah, today, like I said, we are going to continue working on the blade of the hot cut hardy. We're going to spend some time over at the press, just kind of squishing it together so that both edges meet, and we've got a nice like flat plane at that top, or I guess a blade. We will be needing to shape it a little bit with the angle grinder, so later on in the stream we'll be doing a little bit of that, just to give ourselves a nice clean cut. And then I gotta kind of figure out what orientation I want to do for our nail making. Right now, the idea is to take the hot cut and stick it in the hardy hole, and then use the nail header on the Pritchel hole. But I'm not sure if that's going to be the best orientation for it, because the hardy and the Pritchel are so close together on this anvil. So my solution to that is we might be moving the post vise and using the post vise as our hardy, so that we can do our hot cut at the post vise and then move over to the Pritchel for the nail header. So that is kind of my alternate solution. That gives us a little bit of extra space for, you know, stray hammer blows and things like that. Let's see. Yesterday I spent a lot of time editing. I've got today's video is out. It came out at 11 a.m. Eastern. It is about our pickup tongs, and so that is available up on the YouTube channel for you guys to take a look at and enjoy. There's also an explanation of hardy versus Pritchel, what constitutes which hole in the anvil, and why they're there. And then, yeah, I started working on next week's video, which next week's video is going to be a video on our axe and the errors we made. I had a little trouble with the hardy in and the nail heading in the pritchel. Yeah, I've seen it. They're so close together that you just I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to get the hammerhead around the hardy in order to use the nail header if I leave them both in the hardy and the pritchel. They're really close together, so I'm really thinking that I'm going to want to move my post vise, like, I don't know, maybe here or there, maybe over there. I'm not entirely sure exactly where, but a little bit closer than it is right now, because we're going to be going from the face of the anvil to the hot cut, and that's a long way to go from here to there, because we want to make, or if we want to do one heat nails, we want to keep as much heat as possible. So moving as little as possible is going to be ideal for that. So I will be moving this closer to the anvil if that's what I decide that we're going to be doing. Welcome, Mountain Meat. Change. It didn't scroll all the way down. Change places, yes. I wasn't in danger of hurting myself, but the hammerhead didn't have the space to hit on that side of the nail head. Yeah, see, that's my thing, right? I'm right-handed, so if the hardy is like right here, then I have plenty of room for the hardy, but my pritchel is right here, and I almost have to hammer over top of the hot cut, and I'm afraid that I will start chopping into the handle of my hammer. So that is a concern, which is why I am considering, moving the post vise to remedy that. So if I'm able to kind of put the post vise like right here or maybe right here, I think right here it will get in the way of the camera, but right here might actually be pretty good. We are also going to be using the mailbox for making the nails because I can get it hotter faster, because there's a lot less area to heat in the mailbox. So I don't know. We'll see how many I can make. Is that a new hammer? This is, well, I mean, I guess technically it is a new hammer. I got this one earlier this summer, and I bought it so that we could, or I could make a video showing you guys how to dress a hammer. So this is a Harbor Freight special. You can also buy these at just about any hardware store or box store or whatever. Normally they come with a very flat face, and there's like a really sharp edge on here. And so I went and I took this off by grinding it, and then I dressed it with sandpaper, and so it's really nice now. I knew this would happen. So I ordered the mattress for our van, and it was supposed to show up yesterday, but the FedEx truck is here right now, and I'll bet you anything they're dropping that off. So I will wait just a little bit. I might go and grab that, make sure I stick it inside of the house so that it doesn't get damaged outside. But I gotta wait for them to leave first. So yeah, it is technically a new hammer, but I've had it for a few months now. The reason that I'm using this hammer is because my normal hammer, the handle is starting to crack on it, so I need to replace the handle, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I also have this hammer right here that I would love to be able to use because this is the hammer that we made on stream. But the reason that I'm not using this hammer is because it's really, really thick, right? And I injured my thumb a few weeks ago, and it's the way it sits in my hand. The edge of this handle actually puts pressure on the nerve in the ball of my thumb, so it's just not comfortable to use. So that one works enough. It's not my favorite handle or hammer in the world, but it's functional until I can get a better handle for my favorite hammer or a different handle for, the one that we built here. All right, so the FedEx truck just left, so I'm gonna see about bringing in the mattress. So I apologize. I will be right back. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave you guys there. Give me just a moment. Any apologies for that. I just don't like packages just sitting out there when I'm, around, I guess. All right, so we are about hot enough that we can probably start by doing a heat on the press with the hot cut. So that's what we're gonna do. Are we plugged in? We're not plugged in. It helps when we're plugged in. I was using the angle grinder yesterday. All right, here we go. All right, back in the heat we go. Gotta be a pretty dedicated porch pirate to steal a whole mattress. I mean, yeah, totally. However, we bought, like, the mattress that we bought isn't like, a traditional springed mattress. It's one of those ones that's like basically foam and you vacuum seal it. So the package is only about yay big around and about yay long, right? So it wouldn't actually take all that much effort for them to steal it. I mean, it's probably, I don't know, 15, 20 pounds in its current state. So, I mean, it's not too inconceivable. I just mostly didn't want it to be sitting on the porch, in the sun, really. Oh, it looks like I am connecting to chat. All right, that's good. I'm glad that I'm back. But yeah, so it's not actually like a full mattress that's just like, a big old, thing. It's a small box because the mattress is vacuum packed. No springs attached. That's fun. No springs attached as opposed to no strings attached. I don't know if you guys are, familiar with boy bands, but when I was a kid, the boy band NSYNC had a song called No Strings Attached. Inconceivable. You keep using that word. I do not think you know what that word means. I think I do. But yeah. The Princess Bride. Yes, no strings attached. Hey, dear noobs, welcome to the stream. Hey, Sandwich, welcome, you guys. Thanks for joining me today. I'm doing pretty good. I am doing pretty good today. Like I said earlier, my breathing is a little bit on the shallow side, so I might be a little slower today than normal. But it shouldn't actually it shouldn't affect me too badly today. Maybe later on in the stream, we might have a shorter stream, but I doubt it. It'll probably be about 2.5 hours. I definitely don't think we'll get into the 3-hour territory, though, like we did on Monday. But I think that's all right. Like I said, I think we're definitely going to be finishing off of this hot cut today. And I want to get to the point where we can really start getting ready to make some nails. So, like I said, we have our nail header right here. There are 2 holes in here. One is for 1/8 inch nails, the other is for 16th inch nails. I want to do a third head or like nail size. I just haven't decided whether I want bigger nails or somewhere in between. I think that we could do like 3/16, or I guess 3/16 would be bigger than the previous. So I don't know. Maybe it would be like 3/64. Or I mean 3/32. I can think of things. But yeah, these are kind of smaller nails. But really, the reason that I made them this size is because the stock that I'm going to be using to make nails is this stock, right? And this is supposed to be, or I guess this is 3/16 stock. So the closer your stock is to the headers, like the hole in the header size, the quicker you're going to be able to make nails. So, because you're not going to have to taper as much. So it's going to be like a few hits, and then we'll just be able to cut them off, stick them in the nail header, and make a nail. We just want to make sure that we've got a nice sharp tip so that we're making proper nails. So that's the goal, is to kind of get started making a couple nails. Probably not a lot of nails, but a couple of them. I think I'm going with 3/16 for a 1/4 inch round. See, I think, like I said, I think that's probably, what you want to do. 1/4 inch is a little bit big for nails, but I mean, if you're going for framing nails, that might be a size that you're looking for, 1/4 inch nails. So, like I said, I haven't decided whether I want a middle size or if I want a bigger size. When I'm looking at it, though, I think I might want a bigger size. So, just so that I can, have a little bit longer and stronger nails to start with. So, like I said, at the end of the stream, I would like to get into making a nail or two, just to kind of, because I've never actually made a nail, because I never had a nail header. And so I want to kind of practice that a little bit before I start streaming it on Friday. So we'll do a little bit of slow learning nails, and then we'll speed up as we go. The more nails we make, the faster it'll get, and the better they'll look. Nailing it. Yes, exactly. So, like I said, I want to finish this hot cut so that we're able to quickly cut the nails off of the stock that I, taper them on, and then, we'll be good to go after that. There's only a couple things, a couple tools that you need for making nails. For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the rider was lost, being overtaken and slain by the enemy, all for want of care about a horseshoe nail. Right? Nails are incredibly important, especially when they are holding something, that needs some structure together, or, nail, or, horseshoes. So I think learning to make nails is one of those projects that every blacksmith should learn. All right, we're gonna do another heat, and I'm gonna start recording because I forgot to record the last heat. So for our next heat, I'm actually going to take it over on the anvil. We've got kind of a weird V shape or groove in there, and I want to see if there's anything I can do to kind of fix that up. So we are going to take our next heat over on the anvil. We're also going to kind of smooth out our transitions. We've got some bumps and lumps I want to take out of there, and our taper isn't the smoothest, so we're going to see about fixing that. All right, so I'm going to move the camera. I was over here just long enough to do a single heat, and now I'm moving the camera. Jesus. Alrighty. That should work right there. I believe that's not in the way. I don't see it. Okay, cool. I like to have the ability to use both the wide shot and the close-up shot. So I don't like it when the tight shot is in front of the wide. So how many nails do you guys think that I can make in a minute, knowing that I've never made a nail before? I wanna hear you guys' prediction. How many heats is it gonna take me to make that first nail? I'm expecting at least 3 heats because, like I said, I've never made it before. So I feel like the first heat is gonna be more of an experimental heat. That second heat is where I'm actually gonna get my taper in, and that third heat is gonna be making the head. That is my prediction. What do you guys think? 4,745,234 or less. If you can do one, you're faster than me. 1 in a minute. I don't know. Like I said, I'm starting with a pretty small stock. I'm starting with 3/16 stock, and I'm only trying to get it into a 1/8 inch hole, so I don't have a lot of tapering to do. Like I said, the closer your original stock is to the size of the hole for your nail header, the faster you're going to be able to make those nails. So, but like I said, I think it's going to take me 3 heats to make my first nail. Inhaling spit, that is the worst. All right, I'm going to put the nail header over here so that it's kind of out of the way while I'm hammering on the anvil. Otherwise, I think it's going to fall off and it's going to make a loud clatter sound and startle me. So yeah, when I first started streaming, you guys were all excited and you wanted to see how many nails I could make. There are a couple other blacksmith streamers, and Korean Nature specifically, who is, I believe, a German blacksmith, has a redeem for making nails, like I guess a channel point redeem. So you guys were asking me if I made nails, and I told you no. So I figure, you know, I'll try to make some nails now. I don't know anything about the process to guess, but I believe in you. Okay, that's the range. Fixed 1 to 4,745,234 in a minute. I see, like I said, I don't know how many I can make in a minute. I feel like making 10 is probably ideal, because then it takes like 6 seconds per nail, right? And you're doing 2 pieces of stock at once, right? So you're heating 2 pieces. So we've got this piece and then a second one heating. So when you're working on one, another is heating so that you can alternate. So I believe 6 seconds a nail is what you're looking for when you're manufacturing nails by hand. But I'm pretty sure it's going to take me a while to get to the point where I can make a nail in 6 seconds. I mean, the more nails I do, the faster it's going to get, but I still don't think that I'm going to get to 10 in a minute for a while. Greater than 0 integral _ max. It's not dissimilar. Yes. Coding language. Somewhere between 0 and a billion. I don't know. Like I said, I think 10 is about ideal for manufacturing nails, because then you can get 100 in 10 minutes, and in an hour you can make like 600, and that's about a box of nails, right? 600 nails. That seems about right. And I mean, when you're buying a box of nails, it's like, what, $5 now? Or it's probably more than that now, but, it's not too bad. And back in the day, apprentices were making decent money that way. It was like $1 and some change, maybe. So we got an ad starting in about 20 seconds. Once that ad is up, we are going to start working on the anvil face we're going to try and we're going to do another heat. That's what I mean to say. So you YouTube viewers, how many nails do you guys think that I'm going to be able to make in a minute by Friday at the end of the stream? I'm gonna see. I'm specifically planning on making a short that's like a minute long, but I'm going to speed up the short so it's like actually 30 seconds, and we're gonna see how many nails I can make in that 30 seconds. So it'll be double time so that you won't have to watch the full minute, but I'm going to see how many I can make. Oh, wow. That is a very, very large number, and I'm not going to read that because I'm not going to get them right. All right, so we are actively in ad time. Add space. Add space isn't real space, right? because it's only me and my subscribers. And I mean, I love you guys, I do, but you know, at time it's weird space, right? So I am thinking about um, filming a frequently asked questions video for YouTube. And I'm kind of, or this weekend, and I'm kind of wondering what sorts of questions you guys want the answers to. I have several questions that are frequently asked, but we could add some more questions. So if anybody has any, let me know, you know? I suppose I'll repeat that after the ad is over. Realistically, about 5. And we are in an advert, yes. Definitely. How are we doing on my heat? I think we're all right. We've been using this propane tank for a couple of streams now. I think this is the 3rd stream, so I really need to change the propane tank at some point today, probably. But I don't have another propane tank to change it with. Depends. What is the default bit worth in a smithy? Frequently asked question. How are you? That is a frequently asked question. So during the ad, I mentioned that I am planning on doing or filming this weekend a frequently asked questions video for YouTube. And I'm kind of trying to compile a list of questions to answer. Now, I know that I already have like a list of a few questions that I'm going to answer. Questions about the press, questions about the anvil, my background, things like that. But if there's any specific questions that you guys are interested in learning the answers to, let me know. You can post them in chat, or you can post them in my Discord. And the Discord link is on the channel page. But I am looking for questions to answer. 1 bit, or is it totally analog, so infinite? Yes. The picture is frozen for me. What about others? Frozen pictures. Oh, we do have a frozen picture. That's really odd. Okay. Let me see. What if I do this? Okay. Picture is frozen, but audio is fine. All right. Well, let's see if I can watch your ears, because I have no idea how loud this is going to be. I'm going to transition right now. Okay. Hopefully that's not too loud for you guys. I'm going to go, okay. Theoretically, it should be fine. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe cycle my cameras. Okay, so that's fine. That's fine. I wonder, OBS is doing weirdness. 42. Picture is working again on furnace. Yeah, that's my Be Right Back screen. Properties. Integrated webcam. Okay. Well, that did not help. Ray is still frozen. I see that now. All right. I'm going to have to restart my screen or my stream. So I will be back in about 5 minutes. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, the OBS needs a restart. So I'm going to start the stream, or I'm going to stop the stream. I'm going to restart it. And I'm going to type this too, just to make sure that you guys can. Be back in about a minute. Man, it's been a really long time since I've had to, like, you know, restart my stream. What is happening there? That's weird. Alright. Just a minute to appreciate the comedy. Give me just a moment, guys. I am re-logging into Twitch real fast. I've got the stream started, but I need to pull up my monitoring so that I can see what's going on. Give me just 1 second. I gotta put my little code passwordy thingy in. Alrighty. Creator dashboard, stream manager. Alright, cool. Is it where it's? Okay, cool. Haha! The statue is alive. I'm here. I'm good. We're back. We are back. A dinosaur story. I am so sorry about that, guys. Yes, I'm so sorry about that. Not my favoriteest scuff in the world. I have no idea what happened, to be quite honest. All right, I'm going to restart my cameras real fast, and then we'll do my next heat. And unfortunately, it's going to make us do another stupid ad in just a few. So I think we're good for the moment. We may not have. Oh, okay, we're at 3 minutes. All right, okay, I'm going to do another heat. Let's do this. Discombobulated. It's more like the movie Mannequin. I should tell you guys about my mannequins at some point in the future. All right, so we've got a little groove going in there, and I think what's going to happen is we're going to have to cut this off. So I'm going to keep on squishing down a little bit further to the point where I'm pretty happy with how thin this is on the outside edges. And then we'll go over to the angle grinder and we'll cut this off. So back in the heat, I'm going to do another heat here on the anvil, and we'll go back to the press. Thank you guys so much, those of you who have stuck around through my scuff. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've had that kind of scuff. I'm not entirely sure what happened. I think OBS just kind of overloaded itself and crashed. There was no reason for it, though. I mean, maybe it wasn't OBS. It was probably actually the capture card. It had a little bit of issues because I was able to get to the Be Right Back screen. So it was probably like my capture card being stupid. It is kind of hot here today. Ray's new groove. Yo, back. Exciting. I have a fan that is supposed to keep my capture card cool, but when it starts overheating, it does start like crashing and doing all kinds of weird things. So I really think that that's probably what happened. I'm not entirely sure why, because like I said, I have a fan. It's supposed to keep it cool. It just didn't want to this time. But thank you guys for coming back and joining me again. It's getting very warm in here. For a while, we were in the 70s, and then suddenly we were bouncing back to 87 degrees, and those are Fahrenheit. So it's starting to get very warm here again. And it's supposed to be warm for the rest of the week and into the weekend, I think. So, not cool. But, I mean, it is what it is, right? Little bit more heat and delaying the fall a little bit. I am always really happy to see, like, when the fall just keeps going and going and going, and then, you know, we don't get the cold months. A couple of years back, we were getting days in the 70s all the way through November, and it really wasn't until December that we started getting really, really cold. And I very much appreciated that because it was a lot easier to work out here. So we are about to hit ad time. I believe that's that initial first ad from, you know, when I first start streaming and stuff. So I apologize for having you guys watch another ad so closely to the first one. It wasn't that long ago that we had our first ad. Maybe 15 minutes. So I've got extra water today. I had been doing like water and Gatorade, but right now I've got 2 waters and a Gatorade. So hopefully we'll be able to continue, keeping hydrated and not have to sweat my socks off. So we are going to be doing one more heat here at the anvil, and then from there we're going to go back over to the press and continue squishing our stock. It shouldn't take too terribly much longer, and I'll be able to get out the angle grinder. I just need things to be a little bit thinner before we hit that, so I don't have to take off as much material. Ad time, ad time. So for YouTube, I'm going to splice both sections or both halves of this VOD together, and we shall see how that goes. I just got to remember to do it. I also need to make some shorts tomorrow. I tried one of those around the neck fans the other day, and even on the lowest setting, it was pretty nice. I imagine it would be pretty nice, because then you would be heating your face, and honestly, your head, you can kind of trick the rest of your body to be comfortable if you make sure that your head and like shoulder area are comfy. I learned that a long time ago. All right, we're going to do another heat. And so I'm going to press that button, and then I'm going to press that button. I am not a big fan of the length of this handle on this hammer. I have really small hands, and so like the long handles that you get on some of these, you know, the bigger hammers, you know, they want you to hold them down here. I always end up holding them up here because it's just so long. Small hands. Use more shoulder. I mean, yeah, I could use more shoulder. A full body hammer blow is always going to be better than, like, you know, ting, ting, ting. But yeah, like a heavier forging blow is you're using your entire body. The excess length is only there for balance. I mean, I don't know. I just, because I have such a small hand, it doesn't, or like back down here, it doesn't balance it correctly. So in order to balance it, I have to choke up a little bit. Could always just cut it off. Yeah, I mean, my favorite hammer is this one. It's kind of got a smaller handle on it, so I don't, you know, it's just ideally, you know, the right size and length for me because I have such a small hand. This is the ideal position for this particular hammer. This one, like I said, I kind of have to choke up on it a little bit. But this one, the handle is starting to break. I made this handle out of a, it was a oak dowel, and it did not last nearly as long as a hickory handle would have. Especially because, I mean, I really had no idea what I was doing when I was replacing this handle. So, you know, I just used whatever wood I had available to me. I wish I had actually put a nice hickory handle on here, though. Duct tape fixes everything, or so I've heard. Exactly. There's a chart that's like a meme on Facebook, and it's like, what, or is it supposed to move? And if it says no, you're supposed to put duct tape on it. If it does move and it's supposed to move, then that's great. It was a fun meme. Just a little bit lower. And that might actually be in shot. It is. It definitely is in shot. Let me move this over a little bit. Maybe it'll be out of shot if I move it over. There we go. That's better. Okay, cool. We can do that. I recommend birchwood handle, a lot less shock on the vibration than hickory and oak. Yes, if it does not move, and it should, WD-40. Yes, that's the end of that meme. So birch is better than hickory. I've always heard hickory is good because it has a lot of shock absorbing properties. Oak's really bad because it's just not, it doesn't have a lot of shock absorbent. It's a very hard, a hard wood, and so it just starts cracking. And I think that's what's happening with that other handle. But honestly, I am terrible at woodworking. I don't know anything about wood except for, you know, pine is not strong. I mean, it's good enough for cheap framing, but it's not the best wood. But I'm nowhere near capable of doing a lot of woodworking. every time I try, you know, I'm constantly breaking things and having to redo it. I prefer birch over hickory, yes, unless it's a sledgehammer with a long handle. Interesting. I'll keep that in mind. It is relatively hard for me to find different types of wood to begin with, so I'll look out for some hickory. Back in the heat. I think that my propane is starting to slow down already. Yep, it is. Like I said, I'm running a little bit low on propane, so I might have to change tanks to one that's equally as empty, but is not frozen. So we might have to do that. The other solution to this issue that I have is that we could stop using the smithing itself to finish the blade on this hot cut, and we could just use the grinders. So if that's the case, then I guess I'll have to reorient the camera so that you guys can see that. Ash is a good hammer axe wood handle too. Very traditional for handholds as well. No hickory grows in Europe. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Because, I mean, the New World had a lot of different, you know, forest types and things like that. So, yeah. Got to pay attention to what wood was available, you know. Or I guess, you know, there is different wood available in different time frames and different locations. So we have a sawmill that is about an hour away from here, and I got some heartwood from them about a year and a half ago, and I made some furniture out of it, some coffee tables. It was really pretty, but I had never worked with heartwood before, and I feel like I kind of didn't do so hot. It was really interesting though that every time I cut it or sand it, it went from red or purple to a wood color, like, you know, that light brown, you know, tan color. And if you just let it rest, it will start to patina with, you know, or oxidize, and it will turn that bright reddish purple color. And that was really interesting. I did not know that that's how that worked. But like I said, I'm not familiar with wood, like, at all. Most of my experiences with metals of various types. Awful to carve and work with hickory, in my experience. Yeah, the handle on this hammer is a hickory replacement handle that I found at our local farm store. It's a little bit too wide for me. This corner here is putting a lot of pressure on my thumb, and I sprained my thumb a while back, and so as I use it, it kind of digs into my thumb and causes pain. So I haven't been using this one. I need to thin out this handle, but I need to get a belt for my belt sander that actually works for that. I had a 60 grit belt, but I clogged it up and I need to get a new one. Purple Heart is a common exotic guitar wood. It definitely is. There are some beautiful guitars out there made out of Purple Heart wood. I've also seen a lot of furniture in it, or like with Purple Heart wood as accent. And I think it's really, really pretty. And that's really why I wanted to use it for my furniture. But it was really difficult for me to work with it in general. I originally wanted to put some channels in the edges of it. And at the time, I did not have a router. So I was like, I got it in my head that I was going to hand carve it with chisels. And that wood does not take to chisels very well. It splintered so badly. It was kind of awful. It took way longer than I wanted it to, and I ended up taking weird chunks out of it. So eventually I did actually have to buy a router to fix it. And I wish I would have just gotten a router to begin with, because it would have made it so much easier. I just remembered I have a log of yew wood from northern British Columbia. I should do something with that. Yeah, that's a really pretty wood as well. You could probably make some really awesome furniture with it. All right, we're gonna do another heat before I have to change my propane. I think I might actually want to go over here to the flat. See if that helps me any. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Stick that in the hot spot in the forge and see what I can do with it. My hesitation to work with the yew is that it's rather poisonous, apparently. Is it? Like I said, I'm not familiar with different types of wood. So I guess I'm not familiar with what is poisonous and what's not. But yeah, I would recommend finding a good quality respirator, not just like a dust mask, but like a full respirator. If you're working with anything that's really poisonous, make sure that it is rated for that. But yeah, we're getting really close to being finished with this piece, I think. I think a couple more heats, and then I'm going to take the angle grinder. We're going to cut off what's left, that little V area. Make sure that it's nice and flat. Then I will take it over. Well, I think I'll just use the angle grinder, and we'll make ourselves a nice blade there. I want it to be relatively thin because I don't want a large amount of material to be pushed or side, but I don't think it needs to be too sharp, if that makes sense. I really enjoy when disciplines mix, such as carpentry and electronics. I think you can do some neat stuff. You really can. Um, I've mixed a lot of metalworking with different types of metalworking. So I have a few times where I have used uh, steel, and I've incorporated into like copper and silversmithing and things like that. One of the pieces I can even show you guys. I got a piece in here. Need to change my light bulb in there because it burned out. But I made this guy really early in my silversmithing career. So I formed this. This is actually copper, the mask itself. And then I was working with some rod, and so I added some steel to it, a little bit of wood. So mixed media is really cool. I like it a lot. I also have mixed mixed casting styles, right? So I made this piece where it was a mixture of glass casting as well as aluminum casting. So that's always fun too. And then, you know, wood added with metal. I love doing that too. Like I said, I'm terrible at woodworking, but I always try. Usually it takes me a couple attempts, but you know, you do what you can, right? It's that meme that's been going around Facebook, you know, make it or just make it exist and make it good later. And that's what I try to do with woodworking. Ooh, super secret room. You keep your spare ninjas. That's a neat mask. Thank you. Yeah, that's my cold shop. Right now, it has my jeweler's bench and all of my silversmithing materials and like tools. I am planning on like rearranging things a little bit to put like my grinders and some of my cold working stuff in there, and then moving my jeweler's bench into another space in the house. But I want to be able to stream jewelry and silversmithing as well on this stream. But that's kind of in the nebulous future. For the moment, we're doing a lot of blacksmithing because I really enjoy doing it, and you know, it's impressive and cool, and it's a lot of fun. All right, we're gonna do another heat. We're getting there. I think we're gonna go back over to the anvil and see about getting the edge forged in there, and then from that anvil we will actually do some grinding to finish this off. But I think we're done with the press for the day. moving my camera around. See if I can't. Find a cool angle to use. Alrighty. You know what? I'm missing my dogs. So I don't know if you guys are following me or anything like that. Jets005 followed me. Thank you so much for that follow. See, I instinctively knew that someone had followed me. So thank you so much. Welcome to the community. I hope that you are having fun. We're kind of a small community, but we're pretty tight-knit, and we have a lot of fun. So thank you so much for joining. So like I said, what we're going to be doing is giving ourselves a little bit more of a point, and then we're going to go over to the post spice over here, and we're going to actually grind in a blade. We're going to start by cutting off that top edge and making sure that everything is nice and flat. Right now we kind of have a V shape with like a little divot in the middle. So I want to cut it off so it's nice and flat at that top. And then we are going to start grinding in a blade. Not really a sharp blade. For a hot cut, we don't really need a sharp blade. We just need something that's going to separate a bar. So ordinarily, before I decided that I was going to make this hot cut, I used to do the same job with the corner of the anvil. So the corner of the anvil, it's like a right angle. So it's not even like it's a really sharp blade or anything like that. We're just, like I said, we're just trying to separate two pieces of steel. A little bar like this. So when the steel is hot, what that hot cut is actually going to do is it's going to start digging in and moving the material out and thinning out a little skinny section so that it creates an area where you can bend it and separate. Have you considered a monitor to have a large chat on as well as a ceiling mounted swivel arm to swing around your shop? Just silly thoughts. Well, I do have a giant monitor that I have been reading chat on because I would have to be like really close if I was using my laptop. My laptop screen is like yay big. It's teeny tiny. But when I get hot, my safety glasses start fogging up. I also have been like leaning really far in because while I can see the white on the black background because I run dark mode. I can't always tell like the colors of your names. So I can see that there's a purple name there, but I can't always read what that name is. So I have to kind of lean in to kind of see who's talking to me. Oops, forgot to share the idea for the swivel arm was as a camera mount. Silly me. I understood what you got, or what you had. The reason that I don't actually have a swivel arm is because that kind of equipment is a little bit on the expensive side. I know that I could build it, but it would take a decent amount of time. Also, my roof isn't exactly the best, if that makes sense. So I don't really have any good mounting points on this side of the shop. And then on that side of the shop, I've got a garage door. We have discussed putting a swivel camera mount, but I'm thinking that maybe for our next shop. That way, you know, I have a purpose-built beam to attach it to. All right, so I have an ad starting in about a minute 10. So yeah. After the ad is done, I will do another heat here on the anvil face. But yeah, I totally have thought about doing a swivel camera. I've also considered doing a 360 cam as a second camera, but I mean, they cost money and I don't have a huge budget for the stream and the show. So it's kind of like, you know, you want camera improvements, you want overall improvements. I need some donations. I don't want to, like, you know, beg or anything, but it's just kind of, I run on a shoestring budget, so some things are a little less realistic right now. When we're a little bit bigger of a community, I will start getting some more money in from, like, advertisements that you guys watch and things like that, and you guys don't actually have to start, you know, donating or anything. That's the plan, is to be able to get some sponsors from outside of the community, you know, like tool sponsorships and stuff like that. And then I'll be able to improve a little bit more. But in the meantime, I'm running on that shoestring budget. So we are we on ad time? It says that makes sense. Again, was just a thought in passing. The show is perfectly lovely as is. Awesome. I'm glad that you guys like it. I feel like I've hit a decent amount of quality. I'm pretty happy with it as far as the cameras, except for the sound. The sound's a little bit eh. I'd like to improve that eventually, but I feel like most of my improvement is in me as a host. The more I get comfortable, the easier it is to, like, talk for as long as I have to and, you know, demonstrate more effectively. So I think that I'd like to get a little bit better at talking and interviewing people and things like that. But yeah. Ad time. Do. You know what? Now that I had to cut the stream, I have no idea how long we've been streaming. So I guess I have to add about 45 minutes into whatever this time is. So we're at 38 minutes there, and 45 minutes or 47 minutes, I think, was our last stream duration. So we are at an hour 15. So now I have to remember, you know, to add in the 47 minutes from, or when I had to cut the stream. But I'm sure my body will tell me when it's time to end the stream. All right, we're going to do another heat now that the ad is complete. Let's see, is that adequate? Yeah, it should be. I've been changing up the angles recently. Let me know if there's one you don't like. So I'm really, really close to the point where I want to start grinding this. A couple more heats. Honestly, though, I think maybe if I do one more heat, then I can cut it and make sure that it is flat at the top. And then I'll do one more heat, and after that, I will start grinding it. Because right now I'm making some really thin blade, but it's all wobbly. So if I make sure that everything is nice and flat, then I need to make sure that the thickness is similar. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open that up, and then I'm gonna grab my angle grinder. And my extension cord. Ooh, I did not tie this up nice in a bow after the last time I used it. It's kind of a giant tangled spaghetti right now. Oh, of course, it's attached to the stool. There we go. All right, angle grinder. Water can go there. And then this can go here. Remind me if I decide that I want to use the press again, I just unplugged it. Because I got to use the same outlet for the angle grinder as the press. All right. Little bit longer, and we will be able to take that last heat. Once I'm satisfied with that heat, instead of putting it back in the forge, we're going to cut that flat and then put it back in the forge. I feel like my nose is running. I will be right back. I've got a there we go. Much more better. All right. So, let's see. Do we have enough heat? I think we do. We're going to take another heat. You know what? I am stupid. I'll let you know in a second. All right. Flatten that out of it. You can kind of see that we've got a nice blade shape going there, so we just need to cut it apart. And I'll take one more heat beyond that. Except I didn't move the camera to a point where you guys are going to be able to see at the post vise unless I do this. So I think I'm actually going to move this camera real fast. So I get something a little better. View-wise. All right, there's that. And now I'm tangled in my camera. Awesome. I'm the best sometimes. We're going to do that. We're going to take this. All right. All right, we're nice and flat now. Oh, this way. So we've got a nice flat angle right there. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make sure that that angle right there is nice and thin and the same width the whole way around. So back in the heat we go. We're going to do one heat on the anvil to fix that. And then from there, we're going to go back over here to the angle grinder, and we are going to be working on that edge, making it nice and thin. So I'm going to do as I say, not as I do. When I was cutting that line, I did not have a dust mask on. You should always wear a dust mask when you are cutting, when you're using an angle grinder or a bench grinder. It doesn't feel like it, but there's all kinds of dust and nasty getting kicked up by the grinder, and you don't want to inhale that in your lungs. So I will be putting on a mask when I start grinding. Oh, there's my water. It's over here. So once I am done with this heat, we're heating. Like I said, we're heating up this piece one more time so that I can kind of thin out, make sure that that blade section is even all the way around. I'm going to turn off this forge, and we're going to spend some time sharpening that a little bit. Once we're done with that, I'm going to start making some nails. But instead of using the big forge, we're going to start using the mailbox. So I'm going to hook up the propane tank to the mailbox. That way, I don't have to heat as much area. It's not going to create as much ambient heat. We're going to get a much higher heat from the mailbox because it's less area to heat. It's also a lot more efficient than the big guy there. It takes a lot more propane to burn that, or to it takes a lot more propane to fire up that burner than the mailbox's burner. Wow. Speaking gets hard. But yeah, this will be our last heat in the big forge. We will be finishing our hot cut hardy and starting on making some nails. I'm really excited about this. It is another one of those projects that I have never done, but it's like one of those really basic blacksmithing projects. Back in the times where blacksmiths were an integral part of the community, they were the first thing that they learned and taught their apprentice was to make nails. And that was they had a bunch of production work that they had to do in order to earn their keep, and making nails was one of those things. So I'm going to learn to make nails so that I can earn my own keep. All right, let's do this. Oh, that's the wrong camera angle, isn't it? Give me a moment to change the camera. This direction. That's what I'm trying to look at. It is super warm today. Like I said, it's in the 80s Fahrenheit. Super hot. All right, let's do this. Much better angle. And I'm using a much more controlled hammer blow when I'm doing this, because I don't want to hammer in a weird direction. All right, we're getting really close to what we want. So I think we can just grind it from here. All right. So I'm going to turn off the forge, and I'm going to reset the camera again. One more time. Well, not one more time, because I'm going to have to reset it again and again. I don't know. But yeah, we're going to reset the camera again. That did not help me at all. So let's do it this way. Ah. All right, there we go. Let's start recording that. You know what? I totally forgot a thing. This is actually an air hardening steel, guys. I forgot I need to let this cool. Goodness gracious. That's quite the thing to forget. So I guess I'm not going to be able to start nails today because it's not cool yet. I'm going to do this and that. You know what? This is where I'm like really out of it today, apparently. Apparently I'm getting a little bit tired, maybe. I don't know. I need to change blades because right now I have an actual cutting blade and I need to put a grinding blade on. So here's my grinding blade. Let's see if I have my multi-tool on me so I can change blades. It's kind of an older blade, so It's not going to work amazingly well, but I think it should work for what we're trying to do. I lost my key for my angle grinder like forever ago. So I've been using my multi-tool ever since. There we go. Alrighty. Put that over there. And we'll do this. Oh, one more thing. One more thing. All right, let's do this. Alrighty. And we have a finished hot cut hardy. Now, like I said, we kind of need to wait for it a little bit to cool down. This is an air hardening tool steel. So as it slows that heat, it'll get harder and harder. So we might be actually making some nails or on the edge of the anvil. Because I still want to make some nails. I just don't know that we can use the hot cut. So I think we're going to make a few on the edge of the anvil. I know this kind of defeats the purpose of the whole reason why we made the hot cut to begin with, but, you know, I'm not always, you know, I don't always think things through. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is change the propane over to the mailbox. So got to close the propane tank. It's not too bad, but I might actually change the propane completely. Because I have another tank that should be able to power the mailbox pretty efficiently. Raw. We'll put that there. And then I'm going to grab this other propane tank right here. The other one actually has more propane in it, to be honest. All right. Start her up. All right, now we've got a mailbox. And I'm going to put this piece of steel in here, like so. There we go. Alrighty. I think I can get rid of these. We're going to move the camera. It looks like we got an ad starting in about 2 minutes and 45 seconds, so I guess 3 minutes-ish. So that gives me plenty of time to kind of think this through. I've got a fan. Gonna keep myself a little bit cool. All right. So once this ad is over, I'm gonna see about, or like what I can do to make a nail. We might be using the edge of the anvil, but you know what? I have something better than the edge of the anvil. Only a little bit. This has a much sharper edge than my anvil does. So we should be able to cut off our nails a little easier than if we were to do it on the anvil edge. Chat's pretty quiet today. Maybe I should ask you guys some questions. This is really warm now. I should have left it in the fridge. So yeah, chat's been kind of quiet, so I'm also a little bit afraid that maybe I have disconnected from chat, but I'm pretty sure I haven't. I'm pretty sure I haven't missed any of you guys' posts. I suppose that I could actually do this and see, because I know for a fact that Corwin is here. Hey, I see that I am connected to chat. All right, cool. People are just being a little on the quiet side. That's all right. That is all right. I don't expect lots and lots of chatters, or all the time. We just had a long time where nobody said anything, so I was a little bit worried that I disconnected from chat. Mark. Yep. So this right here is a lovely plate of steel. This is one of the things that I typically will use or will recommend as a makeshift anvil for people. I think it's about a 1-inch thick piece of plate. We are currently on ad time, so we're gonna wait a little bit longer and then we'll start. We've got a really, really bright piece of steel. We're gonna get a nail yet. I mean, look at that, guys. That's super bright. So I don't know. I'm thinking it might take me a couple heats to actually hammer cut the nail off on the corner of this piece of plate. I'm thinking it might take some extra time. It'll be worth it to have this guy right here when it's ready. And I do have a fan blowing directly on it, which is probably a bad idea. Let me change that so that I'm not blowing directly on it. Because a slow air cool is going to be better than a really fast air cool. Oh, wow. We're getting really hot. We're actually starting to, we are as close to burning our steel as is possible with a gas forge right now. All right, let's try this. I'm going to try and make a nail. So here we go. You know what? Maybe I'll go over here. Will it go in here? It won't go very far in there. So I think I was right. I think it's going to take me a couple heats for this particular one. I got to kind of figure out what I'm doing. This might not actually be as good of an idea as I thought it was going to be, so I'll put this over here. Because it's jumping around. Like I said, I've never really done nails, so I'm kind of figuring it out. It's going to take me extra time. All right, let's try this again. Our heats are going to go really, really fast in the forge because we've got a really hot fire. All right, will it go in now? Kind of trying to figure out as I go. Okay, cool. That's cool. You can see that it goes all the way through. So I'm going to heat this up one more time. We're going to cut it off probably around there. Oh my goodness. Was that what I thought it was? Hey, Boston. Welcome to the stream. I have no idea. That looked like a rat just like ran through underneath of the forge. That's kind of a little bit unnerving. All right, we're gonna do another heat though. Happy to be here. Well, I'm happy that you're here. All right, we're gonna cut this off around here. And this is definitely not what we wanted to do. It's gonna make the head a lot harder to make. Okay. Back in there. All right, well, I totally screwed that one up. You can totally tell that I have bent that nail head, or I mean that nail. So let's see if I can't unbend it so that it'll actually come out of the header. It's not wanting to. That's just making it worse. Well, I've got a nail head. Kind of a shitty nail head. I figured this would probably be the case, you know, that we were going to have some issues with our first couple of nails. So let me go over here. And I think what I'm going to do Oh, it's right there. I'm a dummy. New thing I learned. Do not slap the nail header onto the anvil in hopes that it will dislodge the nail. That's not a good idea. Either you produce a nail or content. Yes, I mean, technically I did produce some content. A failed nail. I fail. But that's all right. I'm learning as I go. So we're going to cut this piece of bent steel out of this hole. See if we can get this all the way through. All right, so this was our first nail. Not exactly how I wanted that to go. Let me show you how it looks. So this was our first nail. Isn't it tiny and bent and stuff? We're learning as we go. Oh, it also ripped. Look at that. It ripped right there. All right. So not so cool. But we learned something. We learned something. Something moved. Okay, it was not a mouse. It was the blue paper. You're nailing it right. Was it the blue paper? There is something blue under there. Was that actually the thing that moved under the forge? All right. I'm going to try for another nail. We're going to see how this goes. I think we're actually really going to need the cutter. Because that'll give us a cleaner surface to create a nail head from. All right, will this go in this nail header? I gotta kind of like judge it. I gotta learn what I'm looking for. Okay, this is not good enough, so we will heat it some more. It won't take us long to heat more. Yeah, that was it. Oh, awesome. I saw something out of the corner of my eye moving, and I'm like, holy moly, is it a mouse or a rat or something? Because there has been mice that live in here. There was when I first came out here, like last year around this time, because I was starting to work out here before I started streaming, there was a rat that was this long that like ran past me. It was terrifying. If you later download the clip in portrait version, you can see it very clearly. Well, I am very glad that it wasn't a mouse. Like I said, there have been mice that live in here on occasion, and they leave a disaster because they make little nests and drawers and like toolboxes and stuff like that, and I always have to clean them out, and their poop is like everywhere, and it drives my cat nuts. It drives my cat nuts. All right, let's do another heat. We're going to see what we can do with this. All right, so we got to be a little bit thinner than this. And you know what this is teaching me? That maybe I need a bigger hole on my nail header. All right, will this fit? Oh, I've already split it. That's awesome. Will it go in? When you're working, okay, it did go in. Awesome. When you're working this small, you always have to worry about cold shuts. And splitting your material. So yeah, we've gotten the nail the size that we want it. So now we need to cut the head off and attempt to make the head. I have a theory too. So I just drilled holes with the drill press on this thing, and I'm thinking that maybe if I countersink them, it might work a little easier. I don't know that for sure. Maybe. All right, I am gonna try and use the hot cut to cut this thing. It seems pretty cool. All right, let's try this. All right, this is not amazingly cool. Uh-oh. Where did the nail go, guys? Where did my... Okay, there's that. That is not the nail. All right. All right, I've lost our nail. I lost it, guys. Jeez. Let's try again. I'm gonna make a nail today. What'd I do? Where'd it go? It fell on the floor. I won't lie. There it is. I think that's it. Nope, that's not it either. All right, I have no idea. I give up. I cannot find this nail. All right. So, I have decided that I need a bigger hole. I think that the big hole that I have right now, which is the 1/8-inch hole, is the absolute tiniest nail I ever want to make. So maybe I'll do a 1/4-inch hole. That's always the way. Yes, I lost it. I lost my nail before I was able to put a head on it. All right, let's try this again. How many nails can you make per minute? Well, it depends. Do you still have to be there at the end, right? See, I told you guys I was going to have trouble in the beginning. All right. Are you going to go in there? You are going to go in there. Check that out. It went in. So I did that part in one heat. Just make enough you can sweep them off the floor into a bag later. Exactly, right? That's how that works. I don't know. It's around there somewhere. But I just don't know where. All right. Let's try this again. We're learning as we go. Oh, I forgot. I was going to do this like so. Then we're going to stick this through here like so. Now we're going to bend it off. Put it back in there. Not the prettiest nail I've ever seen in my life. Let's see if I can get it out of here successfully. Ha! It's a nail. Look how nasty that head is. But it's a straight nail, guys. I don't know that. Oh, wait, I lost it again. Is that it? No? That's the one that I broke. Oh, this is awesome, guys. I'm going to make a video of just all of me making these nails and like losing them and stuff. Where did it go? Is that it? No? All right, where the heck did it go? All right, I made one nail, but I lost it. Mouse, baby mouse. The mouse stole my nail. That's what happened to it, right? You know when I'm going to find it? When it rolls and I lose my footing and it makes me fall. That's when I'm going to find it. Hey, Koji, or bleh. Pooge888. Technically, I made two and I lost both. I did, man. I did. Let's do another one. I'm making nails and I'm losing them. Yeah. I'm hammering them too hard, and so the end of them is like getting all kinds of nasty. All right, so we're not able to do them in one heat yet. Definitely not. All right. But we're doing our best. Not it. All right. I definitely think that I need to countersink my nail header. That way it'll form the heads a little bit easier and better. Let's call it a steel noodle. That works. That works, guys. It could totally be a steel noodle. New plan. We're going to use this guy in this direction to try and make the heads. I doubt it's going to work any better, but maybe. So I'll put these over here. And leave that over there. All right. That can go over there. Whoops, I lost that. I'm never going to find that again either. All right, let's try this again. Uh-oh. At least this one I found. All right, now it's in there. Oh no, I bent it. Now it doesn't want to go all the way down in there. That's not going to make a very nice nail now, is it? Yeah, that's not a nice nail. I made another nail and it's bent this time. All right. Nail number 3. Look how bent that is. That is awesome. New plan. I'm going to countersink these on both sides, so maybe it's a little bit easier to get it in there. The first one I would expect pretty straight down from the cutter. Historically accurate nails. One nail, please. Sure. Do you want it bent, straight, or lost? That's how things are going today. One bent nail. I unbent it. But I think that it would be very difficult for you to get this into the project wall. So, things we learned. We need a bigger hole to start with, slightly bigger stock, and countersink the hole. Yes, countersink the hole. All right, so we have another ad coming up in about 3 minutes. So I'm gonna do another nail after that. So I want to do. What time is it? I don't even know. We have been streaming for 1 hour and 30 minutes. That means we've been streaming for 2 hours and 15 minutes. All right. So let's make, or attempt to make, at least 2 more nails. Maybe 3. I think we're going to make 2, though. Wow, this is definitely a thing. One nail. Goodness. All right, the area around this is, okay, so it is touchable. I can touch it. That's cool. Cool, cool. Definitely need to countersink these holes though, because they're getting, or I think it's getting bound up because it's not countersunk. So I think that's on the agenda, and making a bigger hole. I don't think I ever want to make a nail that's smaller than that. That's a little bit crazy. Hey, Bluesy. Welcome to the stream. Is there an ad starting soon now? Man, I could have done a whole nail in the time that I thought ads were going. Goodness gracious. I don't know. Maybe I can do a nail during the ad. If I do a nail during the ad, I'll do 3 nails. That way you guys can see it. I don't know when the ads are going to start. Let's try this. I'm hammering these way too hard. They're flattening a lot harder than I want them to. Wait, is this gonna go in there? No. No. I have been teaching today. I'm a little tired. Yeah, do one now. Now will it go in the nail header? It will go in the nail header. Barely. Wow. Ad break has ended. Awesome. All right, guys. After watching my display for the last couple nails, how many nails do you think I can make in 1 minute? Maybe a half? A half a nail? I keep making this way too long. I'm going to try that again, but I'm going to heat it again. Goodness gracious. This is crazy. I can totally understand why this was a beginner blacksmith project, guys. It honestly takes a surprising amount of skill. All right, so I am actually going to use a smaller hammer, actually. See if that helps us any. That one, or no, I don't want to use that one. Maybe I'll use this one. It's not the prettiest hammer in the world, but we're going to try this. All right, let's try this again. All right. Okay. Ah. All right, in there like so. Okay. Ha! Nail number 2. Oh, I forgot to change my cameras. Here, let me show you nail number 2. What do you guys think? It is a little bit better than the last one, right? It's straighter. It actually has a head. Haha. 2. Back in the heat. Let's try this 2 more times and we'll see if we can get something that's satisfactory. A little bit faster. So the smaller hammer actually helps a little bit. I did not expect that to be the case, but I feel like it can control it a little bit easier. All right. Another hammer, another, is your hole square? No, it is not. It's actually round. That's probably part of my reason that it's binding up in there. But I am also kind of creating rounded nails because I'm not really squaring them off very well. Oh gosh. I need a better hammer than this. I want a smaller hammer, but this one has like super, super heavy edges, and so I'm getting a lot of like... Alright, so I need a different hammer. Same size, different hammer. Okay. Something that doesn't have as severe of corners, maybe. This one will probably work. Nah, let's actually do this one. It shouldn't be that big of a thing. If I choke up relatively easily, I'm not... Yeah, I'll use that one. I've already dressed that one. And that one goes there. That one goes there. Alright, I'm going to use this hammer. We're going to try this. I'm going to do a couple more a couple more nails. So this one and one more. Because it's starting to get kind of late. Where does the nail go? That's right in the square hole. Yes. All right, let's try this again. Will it go in there? No, it's still a little fat. All right, I got another heat. I got to get another heat. This is so amusing. Such skill. I think making 100 nails is definitely a project I'm going to start recommending, because the amount of precision that you need in order to create a taper that small and that consistent, that is definitely something that I'm going to recommend. Let's do 100 nails at some point. Technically, you're putting a square peg in a round hole. I am. That I am. All right, let's do this some more. Let's keep on keeping on. This is very entertaining to me. I won't lie. Okay, now I have a super teeny thing. I'm gonna heat it up one more time so we can make the head. This one is taking me like 5 heats, guys. That's insane. Stupid. Maybe this guy. This should work. I don't have a wedge in this hammer, so it's not going to stay on here, but I think I can keep it on here while we're doing these nails. Let's try this again. Well, I don't got a head on that. You can see that it's like flat in there, so there's not really a head on it. I just kind of hammered it inside of the hole. So we're trying to get it out of here by twisting it a little bit. Oh, there is a little bit of a hole, or of a head there. It's the tiniest little head. You guys can kind of see that a little bit, maybe. Definitely need a chamfer around this, so countersinking it. So that's nail number 3. Awesome. Yeah, I think that making bigger nails would have made more sense. All right, so we're going to make one more nail, I think. All right, yeah, we are at an hour and a half. So we'll make one more nail and then we'll raid off. So if there's anybody that you would like to raid to, let me know, please. Otherwise, we'll find some new friends. I have no idea how much I lost on that. I hope I have a few decent ones of these nails. I forgot to cut my clip. New friends. Yes, new friends, new friends. I love meeting new friends. It's my favorite. Yeah, I think I need to countersink this. That's my number one thing. I want to countersink it on both sides. Overall, it's not a terrible nail header, but I think I need a bigger hole and I need to countersink it. Hi, Butler. The butler just got home. All right, one last nail. Let's see if we can't do this relatively fast. All right, will you go in there? I think you're still a little fat. All right, we're going to heat this up again. I think this is going to take, I think it's still going to take 3 heats. Countersink from the back. So the top is the smallest part of the hole. Yeah. So I don't want to countersink very deep, but I do want to give myself a little bit of this shape at the top. So it's kind of a mold for the head. So it's just like a little thing. Ray's Mouse Raid. Something like that. Something like that. Oh, that's way too long. Not amazing. The last one was not impressive to me. So this is my last nail for the day. Like I said, I cut it off too long. So I think that's nail 4. Although that's really like nail 6 or 7 because I lost those few, you know? Get rated. Was that a mouse? Yes. Someone will be rated. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I had a blast. This is a lot harder than I thought it was, a lot harder than it looked. So I'm really looking forward to spending all day on Friday making nails. So Friday we will be doing a full stream of just nails. And we're going to see if we can't get a little bit better. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I've had a blast. I will see you guys Friday. Have a great rest of your day and a great day on Thursday. All right. Who is available to raid? Oh, look, it's Kira Nature. Oh, I did not read that right. It's Kanara. Cooking. Do you want to see some cooking? That sounds cool. Let's do some cooking. Hey, Kiri. Hey, Pyrex. Thank you. Food. Let's get some food.